So before winter leaves us here, I figured I would go ahead and get out my full review on Hugo Boss The Scent Le Parfum, which is the newest in the line, and I believe it's one of the first new releases that we covered here on the channel this year. At least I think so. It might be the first, though I can't remember for sure. But anyway, it is the newest in the line, one that I was looking forward to a good amount. I like Parfum fragrances. I like when they take an existing DNA and they improve upon it, at least in my opinion, by making it richer. And so I was looking forward to this one. I've already done a first impressions. You can check that out here on the channel. Today we're back and we're going to be going over the full scent from opening to dry down. We're going to be taking a look at the performance, if I think it's going to be worth picking up, when you can wear it, all that stuff. So let's start out with how this one smells. Now when you first spray it on, you immediately get this Maninka up top. It gives off this nice fruity sweetness. It's right there. I mean, you can't miss it. Whether you spray it on skin, you spray it up in the air, as soon as you smell it, it does have that note which is used throughout most of the line. That's kind of what made this line stand out. And I really do like it, you know. You get some of that. There's a little bit of a spicy undertone, like kind of a spicy freshness almost, and then this nice sweet creamy nature kind of coming in underneath. So the spiciness is going to be coming from the ginger, so it's kind of a fresh spice. The creaminess is going to be coming from the iris note, which is in here, which I was very excited about, and of course the Maninka giving off that kind of red fruitiness almost. So we will take a look at the full note breakdown just because there isn't a whole lot. We've got Maninka and ginger up top, iris in the mid, woodsy notes, and leather in the base. That's really all they're giving us here. And I think they did a good job of touching on the main players, because that's kind of what makes this one what it is those notes that they gave us there. So you'll find that this one does kind of move over into the, I guess, more modern style of mint fragrances in terms of having that sweetness and that iris, which was made popular with the DIOR Homme line, Intense, the original O, and then of course Prada L'Homme, using that note very heavily, and the list goes on. There's tons and tons of iris fragrances now, so that note automatically kind of positions this fragrance into that category a little bit here. And so the reason why I'm telling you this is because if you're not a fan of that note, you may want to at least approach this one with caution. Now, it's not using the iris to the extent of DIOR Homme, that lineup, or Prada L'Homme, not quite. You know, a lot of what you're getting here is that Maninka, is the leather starting to come through, some of the woods, and all that stuff. But you do pick up on it. It does smell really nice when it opens up. You know, fruity, strong, kind of delicious smelling, and that fresh balance really helps to kind of make this one to where it's not too far in any direction. It's not too sweet. It's not too fresh. It's not too playful, but it's not too mature either. It's really not mature at all that much, but you know, it's avoiding the extremes. There's balance here, and I really like that. So you do pick up on that leather, like I just mentioned, as you start to get further into the dry down. Not too much of it when you first spray it on, like right now it's pretty fresh on my skin. Leather isn't coming through too strong, but as it settles down and you work into the dry down, you start to pick up on the leather. It's not a strong or animalic or dry leather. It's a little bit in the background. It's not too overbearing. And the longer it sits, the iris will come through a bit more as well. And so again, you know, people who do have a soft spot for iris, I think, are really going to gravitate towards this one. People who aren't a fan, you know, that little nuance there would probably throw this one off. But if you do like the Maninka, you like the spicy fresh pop, you like the woods and some of the leather coming through, who knows, you maybe still be able to get along with it a little bit, but the iris part of it would be something that you wouldn't like about it, obviously, if you didn't like that note. So this one is a true Parfum concentration, and it wears like one. When you spray it on your skin, you know, it does have that kind of oily feel to it somewhat, like spray it on your hand and you touch it where you sprayed it, you know, you could feel it's there. It's not quite to the level of like a niche Parfum or something, but you know, it wears like a Parfum in terms of its performance as well, being that it typically has longer lasting power, but not as good of projection. What this one does have, though, is really good room-filling abilities. So spraying it in the air, spraying it on your skin, and walking through, it leaves a nice trail. but it won't project in terms of distance as much as, you know, a lower concentrated fragrance. When you smell this one, you can also tell that it's a Parfum. You know, it just has that richness about it. And for me, I typically like the composition and how Parfums and EDPs wear on my skin. I would take, you know, an EDP or a Parfum over an EDT any day in most situations, especially a winter scent like this. So let's talk about that performance. Longevity on my skin has been around the 7-hour mark, 7.5, somewhere around in there, maybe a bit longer. So not terrible, but also you would maybe expect better from a Parfum. Like I already touched on with the projection, not a projection monster, wasn't expecting it to be, and I really wouldn't want it to be either. Again, I like the softer delivery of Parfums in favor of the hang time in the air. That's really how I like my fragrance to wear. So the fact that it does hang in the air and leave an impression after you've left the room is something very cool, because then people can kind of hunt you down and be like, okay, what is that smell that's lingering in here? You could already have left the establishment and your scent is still around. So I think that's pretty cool. You know, it's a bit more subtle in certain ways, but you know, I would like to see, or I would have liked to have seen, I suppose, better longevity. It's not going to happen now. I don't think they're going to release Hugo Boss, the scent Le Parfum Extrait or something. It's done. It is what it is here. And for me, you know, that 7-hour mark kind of on average is where it falls. Maybe you'll get a bit more. Maybe you'll even get a bit less, but that's kind of where it is for me. In terms of when you can wear this one, wintertime for sure, colder weather in general. So we still have another good month or so of cold weather here, and then into summertime. So I wanted to get this review out. If you're in the same boat, maybe you're in summer and you're going to be moving into winter coming up. And so I guess this would be timed for you good as well. So that's kind of what it is. In terms of situations, you know, I think it's mostly going to be kind of casual leaning. It's not as dressed up as Prada L'Homme or Dior Homme Intense or even Dior Homme Eau. Just the amount of sweetness that it has, kind of going in the more modern trend, kind of puts this one a little bit more playful because it is sweet. You know, it has almost that tonka bean sweetness, that Armani Code Absolute, Armani Code Profumo type of sweetness. You know, not quite to that level, but in a similar genre there. And so for me, I don't really see this as a super dressed up scent, but casual, maybe semi-formal, just a little bit, date nights, evenings out, that sort of thing. In the cool weather, I think this one would be great for. You know, for me, I just like to wear it in the daytime. Honestly, daytime, casual, hang out around the house, running errands, chores, whatever, because it's pleasant. You know, it's one that is kind of soft and relaxing. It's one that maybe you could spray on if you're having a stressful day. It'll calm you down, that sort of thing. It's kind of where this one falls. It's going to be a good compliment getter because of that sweetness that I was referencing. And also, when you take a look at all of the big iris fragrances, Prada L'Homme, Gentleman Eau de Parfum, Dior Homme Eau, the original Dior Homme, even Dior Homme Intense to some extent, a lot of them do share the characteristic of being mass-pleasing, of being good compliment getters. And so this one does have that going for it, along with that sweetness, that kind of sweet placement of, you know, Armani Code Absolute style, just that type of thing, the tonka bean sweetness. So with all of that considered, I think this is going to do incredibly well for a lot of people. I think that, you know, once this hits discounters, I think it'll do better. Right now, because it's new and retail price, it's still kind of wavering a little bit, but I think that would be the saving grace. You know, the performance isn't going to wow people. The scent may not even wow people that much, but I do think this is going to crush it in the mass appeal department, and I think that is what would cause this one to potentially get some sort of hype. I don't think it's going to be a hype monster. Not quite sure it deserves to be one, but I do think it's really pleasant. I do enjoy it. You know, I think that there were other directions that could have been explored with this one that I maybe would have liked to have seen, but this is what we got, and I can't be too upset about that. That's going to do it for me, guys. That's my thoughts on Boss the Scent Le Parfum. Sharp looking bottle, not as parfum-y as you would maybe expect. I mean, Boss the Scent Absolute looks more like a parfum than this almost. But, you know, they already had a parfum before. I think it was all blacked out. And I think that also had iris, did it not? I don't have it personally. It's discontinued. I wasn't able to get a bottle, unfortunately. But they already had that, so they couldn't go that direction. They had to do what they had to do. And from what I've heard, this and that parfum are a bit different. So yeah, that's kind of what it is. If you've tried this one, let me know what you think down below. Do you like it? Do you not? Are you excited to try it? I will link it down below as well. along with the scent fragrances that will be at discounters. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.